Jeannie Baker, and we're talking about our faith today. And I asked you to come loaded with some stories. Do you have any other stories that would feed the people listening to this on the positive side of faith?
On the positive side of faith, I think that we have this sense, at least for me, I'll just speak for me. I always want to see more tangible evidence, or in another way you might say, yes, of Christ, of God. Show me a little bit of ankle. I want to see a little ankle here, in the sense that I want to see evidence. And the more you become aware of His presence, the more routine His presence becomes. Stories, specific stories. I rode a motorcycle, a police bike, and other motorcycles across the country, all over North America. I circumnavigated Newfoundland. I pursued bad guys with guns on my bike, with one hand on the motorcycle throttle, the other on my
What was it?
my
Was it a
microphone.
BMW or was
it was a
Harley?
KZ1000 Kawasaki.
Wow.
But
So did you got shot at? You got shot at?
Yeah, during the riots, we had to do what the Navy calls freedom of navigation. We rode our motorcycles through the projects where there were snipers, in order to show, SWAT was behind us, on the side. We were to attract the snipers so that SWAT could go in and take out the snipers. So, but I was never afraid. Because I was afraid of only one thing, and I'm still only afraid of one thing, and that's that a drunk driver who doesn't know what they're doing, who isn't even aware that they're driving recklessly or poorly, will hurt me or kill me or my loved ones. So that's the only thing that I have any kind of active concern. But short of that, I'm not afraid of anything, because I know there are worse things than death. I've lived through those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like upsetting her. Yeah, that's a pretty dark place.
Oh yeah, yesterday.
And now, how many months have you been married now?
Well, we were
9?
married December 1st, actually.
So it's almost a year.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is a year.
It is a year.
It was December
But
1st?
that
Well,
was, no, that was at the
Civil.
Justice of the
Oh, you got
Peace,
married before you
at
got
the
married.
courthouse, yes.
Oh, okay.
And then I said, I don't feel right about this. I need to have my vows in front of God.
At our church.
Witnesses.
At church,
Yeah.
yes. So,
Well, I remember Lucille Ball said that. She said her and Desi Arnaz got married, and she couldn't get pregnant. Well, they got married by a civil, whatever it is, and not by anybody believing in God. Had nothing to do. God was out of the equation. So they went back and they went to the Catholic Church and they got married, and she said 9 months to the day
she was
gave
pregnant.
birth.
Wow. Yeah, I felt like I needed to have my family around us, just like a couple from church were witnesses, which was nice.
At the civil.
At the civil
We had a couple.
ceremony, but I wanted my family there. My family.
We wanted
are
you
all-
there.
Yes, you were there.
Can't imagine why.
We had
I don't usually get invited to these things.
my family are all believers.
Oh, are they?
Oh yeah.
Did they all come in from
Oh,
California
yeah.
and everywhere?
No, my family's in New York.
Oh, New York.
I have friends come from California, but my family came from New York. And then I have family here in Florida too, that also came.
And where was
to the
that place you had the wedding? Was that the
wedding.
Caribbean?
It was the Maison Martinique.
Now I will tell you, the food was so good. We went back a week later and had dinner again.
They are phenomenal. It was a great place, and we love that lady. She's really, really good. And it's not, it was crazy how they
Yeah, it
had
was
to get all
not.
these.
It wasn't the biggest place in the
It
world.
wasn't the biggest place, but their food was so good. We didn't expect that many people were going to come, but when they heard I was going to get married, they were like, "We're coming."
Now you two don't go to Catholic church, but you go to a Catholic church.
Well, it's
a
Anglican.
Anglican. And what were Anglican? Were they protesting against the Catholic Church? Or?
Well, it was more like
The
Henry
church.
VIII was trying to get the.
Did he start the Anglicans?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Wow.
And but this is not the. I mean, the King of England is not our king. There were American Anglicans who and bishops who came here and started the American Anglican. But it's very much like the Catholic Church.
It's not like the born again churches
Yeah,
I
there's-
used to go to, or when I went to church when I was in Catholic school. But it's the pastor there is very knowledgeable, and he's a good teacher.
My mother was a Catholic. My grandmother was a Catholic.
Yeah.
And of course, when I didn't believe in Jesus. I was into Eastern religions and did the Hare Krishna and all that other stuff, and got initiated at the age of 16 into transcendental meditation, which is not really a religion, up in Boston. And so I read Autobiography of a Yogi when I was 14 years of age. I mean, I thought Jesus was a bunch of foolishness. And then later on in life, at the age of 29, had a miraculous encounter with him. And that changed everything. But anyway.
Oh, I love hearing stories like that because Jesus has changed so many people that I know. There's so many testimonies out there. So
Yeah, well, that's
yeah,
what this show's
Jesus
all about.
is real.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah.
real.
And so, anyway.
I'm trying to think of other. There's so many. There's more. I think there's more humor than. I was driving home once after a shift at work, 3 a.m. and
This is when you were a
in the
motorcycle
curve, when I
cop.
was a motor cop, but
Yep.
I was in my car. It was raining, and there was a car that had spun out by itself, crashed. All the lights were off. It was in a dark section of the freeway, in the curb, in the second lane, on a major highway. Traffic speeds were probably at 75 mile an hour, and I pulled over, got out on this wet freeway. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I think it was Friday or Saturday night, so there's a lot of drunks out. And I started popping flares that I had in my trunk, and went over to the car and saw the guy in there. He was uninjured, but he was clearly drunk, and he was trying to restart his car that was totally blacked out. Wasn't going to go anywhere. I had to smash the window, pull him out, and handcuff him to a pole. And before I called and got some assistance, made sure nobody else would crash into this blacked out car. But again, I wasn't afraid. I was no hero. I just did what I was called to do, and I did it in a methodical way. If I was afraid, I would have been distracted by the fear. But because I wasn't distracted, that freed up my senses and for my training and expertise in being able to get across, be aware of what was coming, what could happen, and save his life. And I think that to this day, he still has no idea I saved his life. He was so far gone.
Wow.
He hasn't. He may not know even that he was rescued. But the fact that I was able to ride a motorcycle hundreds of thousands of miles since the 70s, and I've never been in a motorcycle wreck that wrecked my knees or my head or my elbows or.
Did you get to wear those cool leather outfits?
Yeah, I had the leather and
I mean, because women like those uniforms, right?
I
So
love the picture
you,
he
you
had.
get pulled over by an LA cop. It's
Yeah.
like, oh wow,
I had-
we're in the
Like
movies.
a cop with the big, tall black boots.
it was about 1992. my partner and I, it was a cold day in Los Angeles, and my partner and I went in for dinner at an Italian restaurant. And it was pretty full. There were probably 20 tables there. And I noticed at one of the tables, there's my second grade teacher,
Really?
Miss Fulmer. I had a crush on her
Oh, really?
in elementary school. Oh,
Second grade?
She was my second grade teacher.
Yeah, I remember Mrs.
And-
Shaker. She was my.
Yeah, she was Shaker. Yeah.
Shaker.
So I walked up to the table with my leather and my boots. You know, these Daner riding boots, and the keys jangling, and my firearm, and I, ladies and gentlemen, I called out to the entire restaurant. I said, and of course, when you're a motor cop with all that stuff, and he says, "I need your attention,"
Yeah.
you pay attention. I said, "I just wanted you to know that I had a crush on my second grade teacher, and Miss Fulmer, and she's sitting at this table, and I want to wish you all Merry Christmas."
Oh.
Put my hands on her shoulder, and she called me. I left a business card with her. She called me. She was with a group of friends. She called me. At the time, she was a school principal, and I went to the office in my uniform again, and she closed the door behind us. She said, "If you ever see me in public again, do not ever tell anyone that I was your second grade teacher." She scolded me. It was the last time Miss Fulmer scolded
Yeah,
me.
she didn't want to be that old.
She did not want to be that old.
That's funny.
That's funny. Well, I can remember being in that church. We went to a Presbyterian church, I believe, in Poughkeepsie, New York. And it was very rare that I went to church at all. So maybe the 2 times as a child. But I remember I was sitting in the pew at the end, you know, in near the aisle, the middle aisle. And there was a girl seated next to me. I don't know who this girl was. And I must have been 7, 8, maybe 9. And I remember my stomach was doing tumble salts, and I just knew, what is going on here? And I knew it was her. I was like, what is that chemistry that God puts in us that I was just instantaneously, and of course, the service ended. I don't know who that was, never saw her again. But here I am, 70 years later, talking about it.
There's a song from maybe 100 years old. There is a lady sweet and kind, never a face so pleased my mind. I did but see her passing by, and yet I'll love her till I die.
Oh, yeah.
It's about 100 years old.
Yeah. I have a song I've written like that, and I won't go into the details because I don't want to give away the piece of it that I'm copywriting. But it's about the fact that this lady's sitting in a park, and this guy walks by and asks instructions. Do you know where this coffee shop is or something? Anyway, they start talking. Next thing you know is they go to the coffee shop together, walking there, and they're talking, blah, 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 blah. They get in there, and of course, 6 months later, there's the wedding, right? Okay, the same thing happens again. But this time, she's on the phone, and he walks by, and they never meet,
Yeah,
and there will never be a marriage.
yeah,
All because of stupid phones.
yeah.
You know how they separate us,
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully, maybe we'll come into a
That's
phase
why I
now
stayed single so long.
on that telephone, right? Well, listen, I want to thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you.
And we've been talking with Clark and Jeannie Baker, and recently married. Well, 1 year. 1 year now.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, is it going well?
Very well.
You have to have had a fight, right? Everybody
tell
fights,
her
right?
family. Look, I tell her family that and friends that the domestication of Jeannie Miller is ongoing, and eventually, I have to keep a newspaper handy. But
Well, is he a dot
eventually-
the I, cross the T kind of guy?
Not
No.
really.
Oh, okay.
His
He's just-
handwriting's terrible. So
His what?
No, he's
No, I
not talking
don't.
about handwriting. No, that's what I tell the family, but she knows I'm a pussycat, and
Well, you
and
two seem very happy, and I'm really happy
Yeah.
for you both.
Yeah, we are.
And that's the first wedding I attended in years and years and years. It's
Mine
quarters of
too.
years, so. But it was very nice. Thanks. Well, everybody should try it, right?
Yes, absolutely. It
what-
changes things
what other
spiritually.
what else is there? If you can't have someone else to become part of you, and I I know married couples, they know what I'm talking about. You just, it would be being away from her, even if she goes and gets her hair done, I feel almost amputated without her.
Now
I need
you
her
tell me.
presence.
No, it does. Wait till you get on there. Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
God bless you. Remember, it's a new day if you want it to be. I'm Red Palmer. Expect a miracle. It's coming your way.